Yes. The Godfather, the icon, the legend, Maestro Fresh West. Thank you, man, for joining us at the tap in, man. Everybody show some love for Maestro Fresh West. God damn it. How are you making out, man? How are you making out through these times? I'm on the water tonight because I think I had too many last night.
Your last birthday, right? So I went in, you know what I'm saying?
You said it's your birthday today?
No, last night.
Oh, last night. Damn, man. Well, happy birthday, man.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, how are you making out during this whole quarantine? How has it been where you're at?
It's been tough, man. It's been tough, man. I just found out today an extended member of my family passed away, man, and it's like unfortunately no one's gonna be able to go to the funeral. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, man. My son's mom's side of the family, you know, he was already sick. The dude was already sick. You know what I mean? And then unfortunately he won't be able to have like the proper funeral, you know, based on stuff like that. You know, it's crazy time. He was in New York because, you know, we got family and extended family in the States. And then my mom's just got back from Florida at the nick of time before Trudeau closed the borders, you know? So it's been tough, man. It's tough. But like my immediate family, we're good, man. You know?
You guys are good. Everything's blessed. That's good, man.
Yeah, man.
That's good to hear, man. Listen, man, I want to dig into some history with you. Like, I want to dive in, man, and give the people a show and even questions I never really had a chance to ask you that I want to know, man. So if without further ado, let's get into it, man. Yeah. I need to know, what is your first memory of hearing hip hop music? Like, what year would it have been? Do you remember the group? Do you remember the song? What was your first experience?
1979, Rapper's Delight, Sugar Hill Gang, who I ended up performing with, you know what I'm saying, at one point in my life. But yeah, Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight. From that, then The Breaks, Curtis Blow, and then Super Rhymes, this dude named Super Rhymes, Jimmy Spicer. That song was crazy, and that's what got the pen going. And then later on to Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, The Message. And from that, it was Guanin, you know what I mean?
That's when you decided to pick up the pen after The Message?
Nah, I picked up my pen in 79, man. I picked
79?
Yeah.
Wow.
That, so, you know, yeah, man. So that's the vibe right there, man. That's the vibe. And from that, I expanded and I did different things, man. But, you know.
So your debut album, correct me if I'm wrong, was 89, right?
Yeah.
So it took you kind of 10 years of honing your craft before you had that breakthrough moment?
Yeah, man. Yeah, so, definitely.
So how did you break through back then? Like nowadays, you know, we have streaming, we have internet, everything is so accessible, it's at your fingertips. How does somebody blow up the way you did in 1989? How does that happen?
Word of mouth. We had radio, we had Much Music helped a lot, you know? Mm-hmm. And yeah, Much Music helped a lot, man. You know, just to have a video out there, man. We had Rap City like on Thursday nights. That was it. You had to rush home from school to watch Much Music, to watch Rap City. If you're lucky, you catch it on Electric Circus or what have you. You know what I'm saying? So that was the vibe.
That's crazy, man. So was there a turning point? Like, was there one thing that happened, like a definitive moment where you're like, oh, now it's about to be on? Like, you know,
yeah, see, like back then it was like, you know, you got to tip your hat off to like, you know, Sunshine Sounds, all them, the DJ crews before, back in the days in the late 70s, early 80s. And then you got to give a shout out to like, you know, like Mission Me and LA Love, Dream Warriors. They were doing their thing too. And that was like the battery in my back right there too. What they were doing, I was trying to do too as well. So my thing is I came out in 82. My rap name used to be Melody MC. 82, 83, my man Ron Nelson, who was my mentor, he put me on Ryerson. I'm sure like Halifax, you got your college radio stations.
Dalhousie Radio, CKDU. Yeah.
So we had that, and I was 15 years old at the time, man. I was 15, and Ron Nelson gave me a shot, and the rest is history, man. So it's a blessing, man. And from that, I performed Electric Circus, a song called You Can't Stop Us Now. They liked me so much, they brought me back on again. I didn't want to go on because I was getting nightmares. I thought it was mad corny. I didn't want to go back on, but then Stevie B just happened to be in town visiting just visiting Toronto, with the label. At the time I thought he was with the label LMR, but he put me onto his people, LMR Records, and the rest is history.
Do you remember the making of Backbone Slide? That's the first ever rap song to be nominated or inducted into the Canadian Music Songwriters Hall of Fame. Platinum. I believe you were the first Black Canadian artist to go platinum ever. I heard that you wrote Let Your Backbone Slide while you were working as a security guard in a Scarborough mall. Is that true? And if so, tell us about the process that happened.
Come on, man. I'll tell you, okay, the music I was listening to at that time was Kumo D's album, God Made Me Funky, Ice-T Power, the Power album, Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, and Eric B. and Rakim, Follow the Leader.
Uh-huh.
Those were the albums that really motivated me at the time. But I heard a song called The Stroke by Billy Squier, a rock tune, and it was like, yo, let my backbone slide. I thought it was so ill. So I told my producers, man, we got to make a song that embodies this element saying, let your backbone slide. So shout out to my producers, First Defense, who went to high school with me too in Scarborough at Senator O'Connor. But yeah, man, we did it. That was just me writing.
So you were working mall security and what? You just on your lunch break or what?
No, it was no lunch break thing. This was like midnight shift, graveyard shift.
Okay.
I chose the graveyard, that way I could just write.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That in the night, then go to the studio making demos in the daytime. So
okay.
11 to like 7 or whatever, come home, catch a nap, and then hit the studio, what have you. And my eyes are burning just thinking about that right now. You know what I mean? Just staying up to do that. But we knew we were onto something special. We knew we were onto something that was monumental. I got a slogan that I was living that I didn't know at the time I was, which is don't make records, make history. And that's what we were in the process of doing, making history, man, definitely.
Did you know that you were making history during that moment, or did
Most definitely, because there was we knew whoever came out first with a jump off was going to bang. But our bang wasn't Canada, wasn't the globe, it was just Toronto. That was our world. We didn't know about you guys, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't know about you guys. I think I went to Glace Bay one time, Cody. I think I came to Glace Bay maybe like once. But yeah, man, that was my world at the time, man. Just Toronto, man. And and we did something that was special, man. But I remember the first time I came to Halifax, man, that was crazy. We performed at the Forum. That shit was crazy. That was
right.
I never seen so many black people outside Toronto before. I never seen anything like that before in my life, man, coming to Halifax. Do
you remember what year that would have been around?
It was like 90, 91. I think 90.
Mm-hmm.
It was 90, man. It was crazy.
Do you remember who else would have been on the bill with you at that time?
I want to say Missy Me, maybe.
Missy Me, okay.
I think, man.
No, that's what's up, man. I remember actually meeting you for the first time. And the first time I met you was at Classified's house, maybe like 10 years ago. And I remember...
I'm rocking, me.
Shout out to Classified. I remember that you said a rhyme to me, and one of your... I don't know if you remember this rhyme, but one of the lines you said, I seen Tupac and Biggie perform together on the same stage. Can you tell me your memory about that? Like, where was this at? Tupac and Biggie on the same stage. Tell us about that.
That was in New York. I believe the club was called, wasn't the Ritz. I forget the name of the club. But Pac performed. Bobby Brown was on stage. I don't know what Bobby Brown was doing on stage, but he was just hanging out. Freddie Fox opened up. He killed the stage. But then Tupac came out. I'm trying to think, did Pac come out or did Biggie? All Biggie had at the time was party and bullshit, I'll tell you that much. So I think Pac did I Get Around. Pac was the first dude I seen do this. I didn't know what the hell that was.
He was the first dude you seen do the West Side.
I never seen that before.
Wow.
He did that on stage, and he did it nonchalant. It wasn't like he was doing it like, he was just like, I ain't never seen that before.
That's crazy.
Later, I see Method Man do that, but he went like, and then, but we was hanging with Coolio. And Coolio said to him, this was in Philly, and Coolio said to like Meth, is like, yo, what are you doing? Meth goes, that's the woo.
Oh shit.
Coolio said, cool, that's cool, but that's West Side Crip.
Yeah.
That I remember seeing Pac, that's when I had the flashback of Pac doing that for the first. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So now it was crazy. It was cool. They was performing when this was like the second time I seen Biggie perform. So when they did Party and Bullshit, a part of the stage performance, they all come together, and you think a fight's about to break out.
And then it separates, right?
So get along, put it there, right? You know? So everybody just jumped in, like Pac was there, like jumping in like he was fighting, but they knew that was the choreograph. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember seeing footage of that. And everybody separates.
Yeah. I seen that live. Like, I bear witness to that. I bear witness to that. I saw that twice. Once, the first time I saw Pac perform, Biggie perform, and then two, the time when Pac was on stage with him.
That's incredible, man.
I even had that Big Mac, the burger, when Bad Boy was, I actually had the Big Mac.
You had the box, the Biggie
box,
and the Craig Mac.
Bun. Yeah, it was fake lettuce. The lettuce was like, what you call it? Like, when you go to a gift shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like frills or whatever like that. But I thought it was ingenious. Craig Mack on one side, and then Biggie Smalls on the other. But
that's Puffy's genius marketing there. I forget what documentary, but I saw them talking about that. And for those that don't know, it's basically a Big Mac box, like a McDonald's burger box, that got Biggie on one side and Craig Mack on the other side, and that's how they were marketing it. So you actually had a physical copy of one of those.
I was there when they're giving those out. You know who else was there hanging out?
Who?
Jay-Z. That was the first time I saw.
That was the first time you saw Jay-Z. Did he have anything? Did he have anything out at the time?
Hawaiian Sophie, maybe with Jazz.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy, man. I read something else on the internet, man. I gotta ask you because he's my favorite MC, and I need to know your story behind this. But I heard you also met, I think it was 1990. You met a 16-year-old Nas. What was his vibe at the time? Like, did you know he was gonna be something special, or he didn't have it yet? What was that encounter like, and what did you think of Nas when he was 16 years old in 1990?
You got to understand, it's like Main Source produced my second album. Main Source is Large Professor, Sir Scratch, who was more like the background hype guy, really, but K-Cut. So K-Cut produced majority of my second album, like conducting things, all that stuff. Those guys are from Toronto.
I knew they had Toronto ties, so that was the Toronto tie.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I was up in K-Cut's crib in Corona, Queens, and they were just finishing off mixing the Breaking Adams album. So all they were talking about was, they were rewinding a song called Live at the Barbecue with Joe Fatal, my brother Akinelli, and his 16-year-old protege, Nasty Nas. So all they were doing was just repeating that song. Streets disciple, my rap's a trifle. I shoot slugs from my brain just like a rifle. Stage, I leave the microphone split. Play Mr. Tuffy, I'm on some pretty tone shit. Verbal assassin, my architect pleases. When I was 12, I went to hell for snuffing Jesus. Nasty Nas was a rebel to America. Police murderer, I'm causing hysteria. That was in my head. I still remember that song because we rinsed that over and over again. Like, that's all they were playing. They played a couple other tracks on the album, but all they were playing, the main thing was Nas. They go, that kid Nas is a problem. He goes, verbally, I'm iller than an AIDS plate patient. Shoot the gift when I rip and rhyme. I was trapped in a cage and let out by the Main Source, swimming in women like a lifeguard. Pull out the bulletproof, nigga, I strike hard. Kidnap the president's wife without a plan and hanging niggas like a Ku Klux Klan. I'll rape Mike till the sound waves over. Before stepping to me, you rather step to Jehovah. You know what I'm saying? Like those bars are stuck in my head because that's all they were playing over and over and over and over again. So when I finally met Nas, he just came by K-Cut's house. The Large Professor said, Maestro Fresh West, meet Nasty Nas. I just shook his hand. That was it. That's all I could say. You know what I mean? I said,
That's
Pete.
incredible, man. And that's his first appearance on wax.
First record ever. Like the first time
Yeah.
Nas was ever on record was that symphony joint called Live at the Barbecue with Main Source. You know what I'm saying? So that's the story right there. It's like right when they were finishing mixing their album, their debut album, they were getting ready to mix my second album, you know? And a lot of times in life that happens in my career. Like when Showbiz and AG was finishing their album, Runaway Slave, I was in the studio with Big L. Me and Big L did background vocals with Kid Capri on a song called Hard to Kill on the Showbiz and AG album.
No way.
Huh?
So if we go back and listen to that, Hard to Kill.
That's me on the hook. That's me on the hook.
We can hear you and Big L in the background.
Yeah, that's me, Big L, and Kid Capri on the hooks.
Wow. That's something I didn't know, man. That's fucking legendary, man.
Yeah, so I got to the studio. It was like I was the first one there. I'm excited. I'm from Toronto. You know what I'm saying? So I get to the studio first. Big Al comes through with Herb McGruff, and he's like, "Are you the engineer?" And I said, "Nah, man. I go by the name of the Maestro, Fresh West." Hoopty Hoo, Showbiz invited me, and I slid through. And then Showbiz and AG, they came through after. Somebody asked when I'm going on Sway. I was the first on Sway ever.
No, I think, I just got invited up there. I don't know if they meant me, but you were the first Canadian, right?
100%. That's my man. I did it in the 90s. I know Sway. Sway's my brethren.
Wow. I just got a chance to rap for him.
Before King Tech. I stayed by their gates. They heard me spit, and they put me in the studio with one of their groups, with Motion Man and the Bums.
Was this the Wake Up Show at the time?
The Wake Up Show, yeah, man.
Yes.
So, yeah. So when you ask them guys about me, they know. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, when you're from Canada, you go on the Sway show, he lets you know that he knows me. You know what I mean? And them guys call me a legend, like them cats, like, you know what I'm saying? So, but enough respect to Sway. Me and him go back. That's fam. You know what I mean? That's before he was doing Shady.
No, that's what's up, man. That's incredible. Another unknown story I didn't know. We know the music is not your only talent. You have been in a number of prominent films, man. You know, the list goes on from Paid in Full to Four Brothers to Get Rich or Die Trying to Honey with Jessica Alba.
I was never in Get Rich or Die Trying.
Never?
Never.
Okay, they had the credits in the IMDb.
That's a boo-boo. They made a mistake. Because I auditioned for the part Terrence Howard. I auditioned for his part, but I didn't get it.
Oh, you didn't get it. Okay. They had that in there. Okay. But what I was gonna say is, do you have any stories from any of the sets from those movies, like some shit like the Paid in Full set? What was that like, or what was it like working with Jessica Alba?
So which one you want to start first, the Paid in Full or Honey?
Let's start with Paid in Full, classic hip hop.
Paid in Full was shot in Hamilton. So the movie Paid in Full was shot in Hamilton, Ontario. The B-roll footage was obviously shot in Harlem because they couldn't get around that. They needed it to be organic. Mm-hmm. But the DOP, which is the director of photography, his name is Paul Sarasi. Paul Sarasi's from Toronto, and Paul Sarasi's also the DOP for Let Your Backbone Slide video 10 years prior. So,
oh, wow.
So when Paul Sarasi saw me on set in the car with Money Mitch, he's like, "Maestro, how you doing, my man? It's me, Paul." And he made sure that I got, even though I didn't have dialogue, he made sure that he got me for those legendary shots in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Because I was supposed to be Money Mitch's right-hand man. You feel me? But Paul Sarasi seen me, and he was like, okay, boom. He made sure that I got some love up in there. Another story with Paid in Full is Mekhi Phifer. Me and him just connect like this. You know what I'm saying? And I told him I was a fan of his work. So I asked him, what movies should I watch? I'm trying to be a dope actor like you. What should I study? He told me, you ready for this? What he told me?
What did he tell you?
He told me watch Wag the Dog and Pimps Up, Hoes Down. So I didn't ask questions. I just went to Queen's Video, which was in Toronto, and I rented Wag the Dog, starring Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
And the documentary Pimps Up, Hoes Down. So in my mind, I'm trying to figure out why is Mekhi Phifer telling me, I'm thinking he's going to tell me like some Sidney Poitier or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My dude told me, pimps up, hoes down, and wag the dog. So then I watched Wag the Dog. What was Wag the Dog about? Very, very interesting movie. It was about a spin doctor. A spin doctor, I'm not talking about a DJ like Scratch Bastard. A spin doctor is somebody who creates a story. So in this specific fiction movie, the president was about to get oisted out. So his PR people decided to create a war, a fake war, to distract people from what's going on. So you'd see in the movie a green screen, then you see a girl, a hired actress, a little girl with a cat, holding the cat, and you go, thank you, very good, little girl. Then they put the shit behind her, and you see bombs blowing up and shit like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dope. Like, okay, this is some espionage type like conspiracy shit. Okay. Now let's get the pimps up, hoes down. Let's see what's really, really good. So this documentary, you know, you had like the Bishop Magic Don Juan is in there. You got like all these other legendary pimps. And it was interesting to watch, right? But then I'm like, okay, after I finished watching both of those, I'm like, why did Mekhi Phifer mention these two movies? But I realized the reason he mentioned, I didn't ask him that. I just figured it out on my own. The reason why is because both of those were about manipulation. If you're going to be a good actor, you got to manipulate that camera. To make that character become organic.
You have to make it believable.
Make it believable.
Wow.
So when we was filming Paid in Full, Mekhi Phifer transformed into Rich Porter. They just changed the name to protect the innocents.
Yeah.
Rich Porter drove a Standard. Mekhi Phifer didn't know how to drive a Standard. So I was with him when he was starting, stopping. But he was making that character come to life to manipulate that camera. Understand what I'm saying? So that's why my brother told me those were the two movies to study. And later on, when I seen him in Honey, it was a beautiful thing. He's like, yo, Maestro, you following me? You in the next movie too with me?
That's what I was going to ask you. He's on Honey as well. So was that a coincidence purely?
That was a coincidence.
Wow.
So when he got on the set, he's like, yo. And he was very happy the day, if you've seen Honey, the day of when I did that scene, I face off with him and Jessica Alba. Mekhi Phifer was very happy that day. And the reason why is because that was the day that he was debuting his premiere on ER. And
wow.
Because he goes, my grandmother could watch this. I go, what you mean your grandma could watch this? She goes, what you mean I can't show her what I did in Clockers and Paid in Full? I'm a thug. But I'm a doctor now, so grandma could watch this. You know what I'm saying? So he was so happy while we filmed the whole scene. He was so, like even Jessica Alba was saying, like, you're nice to me today. Like he was extra nice because he just wanted to wrap up, finish the scene, so he can go back to his hotel and watch his debut on ER, man.
Wow, that's incredible. How was Jessica on set? Was she cool? I think we're all wondering that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Jessica, when we did, we went to a party. That's where I first met her. I met her at a club. And she had like handlers around her and stuff like that. And they introduced her to me and they're like, yo, you're not supposed to like him. You know what I'm saying? So we just smiled at each other, kept cool. And then, yeah, she, you know, and at the read-through, she was real cool too, like real chill, real respectful. Joy Bryant, I had a crush on Joy Bryant, the girl who played her best friend.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's beautiful. She was also in the 50 movie who played this girl. But
okay.
Yeah, beautiful,
oh,
man.
the girl that played 50's girl.
Joy Bryant. She played.
Yes.
So in my mind was if Jessica wasn't supposed to like me, I made sure she didn't like me. So I made sure my character, I enjoyed yelling at her and screaming at her over and over again. We must have done that take about 40 times. And you got to understand, all Toronto came out to see that scene, like came out to watch the movie, right? So you had cats at the other side, like hood man at the other side where the camera's on, watching me. You know what I'm saying? I got my do-rag on, smoking a cigarette, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Get into character, yelling to Jessica Alba. Then after I was done, she was like, you were good. Thank you. Then I gave her a hug afterwards. After it was all done, then I gave her a hug.
So before it was done, you were just in character. You're like, all right, I'm not being friendly.
I was the ugliest human being she ever met in her life, man. And I loved it. I loved it.
That's fucking incredible, man.
My voice, we're MCs, so my voice projected. When I was yelling at her, my voice was resonating across the block, the other side of Queen Street. And Mans was coming up to me after, go, Wes, you're a good actor, because I know that's not you, but you're a good actor. Like, I felt good, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
With my son that movie like last week, because he knows me from filming Mr. D, you know what I mean? Like, he's on set with me and hoop-de-hoop. I go, yo, you're on lockdown. We might as well watch some like some classic movies that your pops is in. So after we finished watching Honey, I said, yo, how was I? He goes, you were good. You played a bad guy. That's how you normally are. You're a bad guy. So, you know, we had that, you know, so it was good, man. That was some good times.
No, that's what's up, man. That's incredible to hear those stories, man. Basically now, man, I just want to ask you some advice. Like, I know there's a lot of up and coming artists probably watching this. Your legacy in this business has spanned over 3 decades. What is the key to longevity, in your opinion? And what is the key to staying inspired? Did you ever have periods where you lost inspiration? And how did you get it back? Or how did you maintain it? And how did you maintain longevity this long?
Okay, the first question, the first thing is humility. If I didn't have humility, I wouldn't be around. I want to say a special shout out to my very first DJ. DJ G Nice just popped up. My very first DJ. He's the one who got me on in like the late 70s. What have you. But my thing was humility, even with him. Like, that's before the DJ LTD vibes. I had to humble myself and just be like, learn. Then I got nice after years. I got nice, but I was bad. I was like, my timing was awful. He'll tell you. My timing I was terrible. But my pen game was always nice. I was always good with poetry, but I wasn't the best on the beat. You know what I mean? But I just kept on working at it, and once I got good and I got my deal and stuff like that, it didn't matter. My whole thing was, it's okay to ask questions from cats younger than you.
Wow.
I learned that humility is a skill that we all got to work on, because if we don't, our egos will contaminate us. You know what I'm saying? So
that's great advice.
Always try my best to be humble and just ask questions. It didn't matter what generation it was. If it's like the ghetto concept era or like the Cardinal era, Socrates, them, Rich Kid is like, I look up to that dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, Class will tell you, man. Like, when we went on tour, I'm studying his show. I'm studying his whole thing. I'm in the, like, you know, like I might have done whatever. I'm watching him. I'm watching his fan base. I'm watching fans know his lyrics. I'm like, how did that happen? Where did he do that at? Like, I'm learning, I'm studying. Every time there's an opportunity to learn, I always took it in. And that's what helped me with the longevity. My humility helped me with the longevity. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid. You know why? Because I know people grew up watching me. You know what I'm saying? So to me, my whole thing is we learn together. That helped me a lot too. I got a great reference point of Quincy Jones, because Quincy Jones, who I met on 2 occasions, but his whole thing is he was a jazz artist in the 50s. But for him to make the evolution to being a producer for disco, a disco producer for Michael Jackson, is bananas, man, in the 80s. So if Quincy Jones was just to stick to a small little parameter called jazz, which was a huge music, and he wouldn't have been able to, but it was huge in the 50s and 60s. The 80s was disco, man, which was popular music at the time, and he produced one of the biggest albums, which is Thriller. So I look at that as an example, and I'm saying that's my reference point, Quake. My reference point is Quincy Jones. Wow. Because if you look at underground hip hop is similar to jazz. You can compare the two. When I see interviews of like Showbiz and Premier talking about making beats, they remind me of two old jazz artists, like the whole style, like, you know what I'm saying? That could have been like Cannonball Adderley and Duke Ellington or Count Basie having a conversation, like when I watch them brothers speak, or Pete Rock when they speak about things, right? Trap music is disco, son.
Wow. That's a crazy analogy. So the underground hip hop was jazz, then something came in and kind of blew it away. Trap music.
Evolution. That's all it is. It's
wow.
Evolution. Watch. What's Pink Floyd's biggest record? It's a disco record, B. Pink Floyd's one of the biggest rock groups ever. The Wall is a disco record.
Wow. So so with this, with
no education, yeah,
that is.
We don't need no. Watch now.
That fast guitar, that yeah.
I said a hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop. You don't stop. All along it's just another brick in the. We don't need. You see what I'm saying?
So knowing this and knowing this, and they say history repeats itself.
That was a Nile Rodgers record, which is a disco group, Chic. That was a Nile Rodgers group, right? Good times, boom, boom. These are some good times, right?
Yeah.
We don't need that was a little slower, and they might have put a little guitar in it. They ain't fooling me. That's disco, son. So when you see me do my trap music, like not underestimated, but like Wastefield, or like Toronto Icons with Ghetto Concept and Infinite, or like the new one I dropped last night, Fast Forward. That's like evolution of music. That's from jazz to disco. It's not that big a deal if you use the right reference points. You know what I'm saying? Rolling Stones' Tattoo You is a disco record. You know what I'm saying? Emotional Rescue is a disco record. You know, the Bee Gees were a rock group. If you look at the Bee Gees' early catalog, it was rock. But they made their biggest records was disco. Quincy Jones was known as a jazz trumpet player. The biggest records he made was disco because of evolution. He didn't stay stagnated. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The song I did with Big L, I did a song called Hard to Kill. I can't say I did it with him. I just did background vocals. Me and him and Kid Capri did background vocals on a song called Hard to Kill, which was on the Showbiz and AG album, debut album. And I was with Showbiz when he got the album cover. When he saw the album cover for the first time in his hand, I was at his crib looking at that. You know what I mean? So
crazy.
Yeah, man. But so that keeps me going, like in terms of like longevity, being humble and listening to different music, different things. You never heard me disrespect mumble rap. Never. You never heard me disrespect any young whatever like that, because in my mind, when I was younger, people were dissing us. So if the young kids are this is how they're expressing themselves, that's how they're doing it. You sound like you suffer from OHDS, man, old head deficiency syndrome. When you're dissing young cats, it don't even sound right, B. Just stay humble. Let them do their thing. You do your thing. You know what I'm saying? They don't gotta like you, and I don't gotta like them. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? But
I think that's a great outlook to have, man. And you mentioned earlier that you aren't too proud to talk to younger people and maybe ask them questions. Speaking of younger artists, I heard that when you were doing a show called Instant Star and Drake was on Degrassi, you guys actually shared a dressing room. We heard Drake's point of view on the Nardwuar interview of him, conversating with you. From your point of view, how did you see him at the time? Did you see something special in him? Was he rapping at the time? Was he, how was it conversing with him at the time?
All I knew is this kid named Aubrey is rapping now. And he comes to work tired.
Because he's up all night in the studio.
He's up in that studio working this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tired. That was what. But when I first met him, like my name was Darius on Instant Star. His name was Jimmy. So it was the actual same dressing room. So all they do is switch my name tag off, which was Darius, and they put Jimmy in. So I believe he'd be coming in.
That's
and
crazy.
The first he ever told me was like, "Hey, how you doing, man? My music is coming." That's what he told me.
Wow.
That's the first thing. He goes, hey, I'm doing stuff. My music is coming. I'll never forget that day. And then the next day I seen him was on one of my birthdays at a club called Chocolate. The pictures are bubbling around the internet. But it was on my birthday. DJ Scam was there. My family was there. My whole fam. DJ Mel Boogie was there. And I was drunk. And I went to the other side, and I go, Aubrey, what's happening, homie? So when you see the picture, you've seen it. I posted it several times throughout the years. But he goes, yeah, like I told you, my music is coming, man. And he was with a couple other artists, too, at the time. You know, I guess he just finished doing a show. I said, it's my birthday, man. And I think DJ Mel Boogie got a picture of me like this. And you got Drake, just like young Aubrey. You know what I'm saying? I think he's wearing like an Argyle thing, you know? Yeah, man. So that's the story. But he wasn't lying, man. He wasn't lying. He definitely knows.
Did you believe him when he said my music is coming? Did you ever in a million years think that he would have, you know, he's arguably now one of the top 5, like, biggest artists to ever do it in hip hop. Like, did you ever see that coming?
I will say this, Quake. Because I've been underestimated my entire life, when I see artists and they have that eye of the tiger, I always encourage them. I'm always rooting for them because I know that feeling.
Yeah.
When I met you at Classified Singing and I heard your early tunes, I'm rooting for you, man. Because I know that feeling when people doubt you. You know, they think you can't do what you're doing, man. You understand what I'm saying? So every time I see somebody with that eye of the tiger, like, yeah, I'm like, in my mind, I might just tell you, good for you, but in my mind is prove them wrong. Like, I proved them wrong. You know what I'm saying? When I see an early Quake, yeah. You know what I'm saying? The video shoot, you had that eye like, yeah, you're hungry. You know what I'm saying? So my vibe is like with Drake, it was like, yeah, prove them wrong, man. You know? Now, who would have thought he'd be the biggest artist in the world? Because at that time, hip hop wasn't that big. You see what I'm saying? So there was no reference to look at. You know what I'm saying? But did I think he was going to make it to some capacity? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But not to be the voice of his generation and not to be like a mega star like that, whatever. Nah, I'd be lying if I said that. That's not, you know. But did I think he was going to blow? Yes.
You knew it.
I knew he was going to blow.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for him. Because you got to remember, in my mind too, it can't just be me. It's got to be other artists. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when Chaclair was doing this thing, I'm rooting for him, man. When Cardinal, especially Cardi, that's my favorite rapper out of Canada, Cardinal. I'm rooting for them because I know what it's like to have nobody around you to look at as a reference point. I had no one to look up to. Nobody. All those artists, they could look at me, even if they hated me, they could be like, you know I motivated you. You know what I'm saying? You know I motivated you. You either said, yo, if Maestro can do it, I can do it, or something like that. Or he's whack. If he can do it, I can do it. Whatever way, I'm motivated my whole, you know what I'm saying? And that transcended through generations. If you ask Carter now, he'll tell you he met me when he was 12. And the first thing I told him was to stay in school. You know what I mean? Cardi tells the story, you know? Somebody asked me a couple of days ago, they said, yo, you ever thought about putting out a label and putting artists on? You got links. And I said to the person briefly, I've done so much behind the scenes that if I told you who I helped and how many levels, you'd be surprised, man. You know what I mean? But there's a biblical scripture, like, help people privately, you'll be rewarded publicly.
Wow. That's deep, man.
You know what I'm saying? Help people privately, and you will be rewarded publicly. So when you see me book my stuff like, you know, Mr. D, you know, when you see me being paid in full, when you see me and all kinds of stuff that I'm on, I must have been doing something right. There's a lot of artists. I'm invested thousands of dollars behind the scenes, man. I just don't talk about it because it's not for me to say, because one thing I hate is to see somebody say they helped somebody and they post it. You know what I'm saying? And you see it's humiliating. You know what I'm saying? Or you
They
see,
brag about helping somebody.
nah. You know what I mean? I only mentioned that about Cardi because Cardi's been saying that for years. Like, yo, that when he was like, you know, if he never mentioned that, I wouldn't have said nothing. Because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
No, that's crazy, man.
because he mentioned that, I'm like, all right, well, yeah, you know what I mean? So.
No,
But
that's
I
crazy,
like
man.
I mentor artists behind the scenes all the time, man. You know, a lot of things, Quake. You know, so and not just Toronto, like Halifax too, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man.
Damn, bro, I remember you prepared me for the King of the Dot battle. You let me come into like the Mr. D conference hotel room or whatever it was, and you made me do it a million times face to face with you and shit. Yeah, man. You've always, man, I gotta say, hats off. You've always, as much as you've already done for us by paving the way for us, you've always went the extra mile to help, you know what I mean, anytime you could, man. And I just want to thank you on behalf of myself and every other Canadian rapper, man. You are truly a humble dude, man. You've given
Well, yo,
some great
the feeling's mutual. Yo, bro, you know what I'm sipping on right now, B?
Sauvignon. That Sauvignon Blanc.
Fam, when I heard that tune, I'm like, that made me want to write, Rude Boy. That made me want to write. I'm like, yo, this dude, Quake Matthews, is not playing.
Bro, I remember when you posted it.
Huh?
When you posted it to your Instagram, like a clip of my shit, and I remember being like, "What the fuck?" Maestro posted my shit to his Instagram, bro. I couldn't believe it.
Because your shit is dope, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's the vibe. Listen, I dropped 2 songs yesterday on my birthday. One's called Rewind. Other's called Fast Forward. They're both produced by my brother Lord Quest. You heard the bars from Rewind because you see, I was letting you while I was writing it, I was letting you hear the things. Remember? It was the demo was a classified beat.
I remember we were on the phone
and we were going through different beats and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I decided to change the beat just because I didn't want a sample to deal with, and I'm trying to create like my own sound now, like my own futuristic boom bap type sound with Lord Quest. So I just tried. You know what? Instead of making this like an old school '90s feel, I know the song's called Rewind. I didn't want to go. It doesn't mean I got to hit it on the nose and have it like an '80s type beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the bars, I kept the bars the way they were. That's me singing on the chorus. And then Fast Forward featuring my man Dusty Wallace. You know what I mean? So I dropped those 2 yesterday. What is bar?
I gotta check them out. Hey, one last thing before we leave, man. I won't take up too much of your time. We always gotta end it like this. I gotta know, who is your top 5 favorite? Now, I'm not talking sales. I'm not even necessarily talking skills. I just mean your personal favorite for whatever reason. Your top 5 favorite MCs of all time.
He's also an author.
Rakim.
So Rakim is definitely one of them. Big Daddy Kane, Chuck D, KRS-One. Tie between Kool G Rap and Nas. But I also got to give a shout out to Slick Rick, Ghostface. Definitely, like that's like my 7 right there. Like G Rap, Nas. I think that's like 8 I gave you. That's about 8. I can't do 5, man.
No, I hear you.
Chuck D's definitely up there, but Rakim is probably he made me want to write, you know. So, but you know that's what it is, man. But I want to say a special shout out to you. You continue doing what you're doing because you inspire me very much, man. You know
Hey,
what I
man,
mean?
thank you, man. I'm grateful for you, man.
Yeah, man. All right, so we'll do more of this, man. We'll do more, and we just keep each other sharp, and we take it from there. All right.
All right, man. Thank you for tapping in. Everybody, show some love to Maestro Fresh West, man. Legend.
All right, everybody, stay safe, stay inside, and just we're gonna rock this out, man. When I get a chance, I'm gonna come back to Halifax, homie.
Yes, sir. Speak soon, bro.
All right, bless up.
All right.